for Joe
That's
to be
it.
honestly.
I'll hit click,
Awesome.
go for the YouTube, Joe, and we'll go.
Okay, when you're ready, go.
Inspiration Nation, hello, Lee Kemp here for another week on the podcast. As always, with both Jose Noya and Ryan Boniface. How are we doing, guys?
Yeah, good, thank you.
Fabulous, thanks, Lee.
Glad to hear it. And more important than these two, we also have a guest with us as well. You'll see them if you're live with us on YouTube. Invited by Jose, so I hand over to you to do the introductions.
Yeah, so Joe, has been on the podcast before. It's totally inspirational, brilliant. I mean, if you've gone back and listened to the archive and had our conversation, you would have. We had some great fun doing this, didn't we, Joe? We had some great fun, and it was just brilliant. But Joe, do you just want to introduce yourself back again for your second hit here on the podcast?
Yeah, thank you all for having me on today. It's dead exciting to be here. So my name's Jo Wright. I'm the co-founder of Coaching Culture, an organisation that provides a platform, software, content to help organisations build a coaching culture. So providing all the content resources they need to enable managers to have better conversations. And then there's me, Jo Wright, who is now best-selling Amazon author of No More Shit Managers, yay, 7 Steps to a Coaching Culture. And I'm also a speaker and coach, and I help organisations as well build their coaching culture. So yeah, that's me in a nutshell from a role and company perspective. That's me.
Fantastic. Do you know, because I went back this week and I listened to the interview to get myself in the right headspace. It was October 2020. It's crazy how long ago that was now that that you and Joe did that interview. Back in the very early days for us, we were still in double digits of podcast numbers, not triple then. So encourage people to go and listen. In fact, what there will be is in the notes to this, wherever you are, there'll be a link to the previous interview. You want to go back and give that a listen. But we're really keen now to talk about what you've been doing since, Joe, especially No More Shit Managers. And listening back to the previous interview, there was a lot of things you were talking about doing, and at that time, a book wasn't one of those things. So what's happened in the previous few years to bring the idea of doing a book?
So I remember a while ago, my business partner said to me of Coaching Culture, he sort of made this throwaway comment, we need to write a book. And what he meant when he said, we need to write a book, you know where I'm going with it, was you need to write a book. And I was like, I don't know how to write a book. And it reminds me of when we set up the magazine, and it's actually in the book where he said, you need to be the editor of the magazine. I'm like, I've never been an editor of the magazine. Well, you are now. So it's a little bit the same. So it's, we need to write a book. In other words, you need to write a book. And I was like, don't really know how to write a book. I read loads of books, but that's different. So a really good friend and friend of Coaching Culture, Tim Roberts, wrote the book Break the Mold. A great book, check it out. And I went to Tim's book launch. And I was like, oh, I've never been to a book launch before. And I felt really excited and proud of Tim. And he introduced me to his book coach. So it's that word again, coach. And I met his book coach and then went on a webinar of theirs. Literally a handful of weeks later, I thought, I think I'm going to be able to learn how to write a book. And they taught me how to write a book. And it became paint by numbers. So it's spoiled all business books for me now, because I can see there's a formula. There's a secret formula to writing a book. So I wrote the book, and it literally, as Joe knows, it only launched on literally 6 weeks ago now. And I'm currently recording the audio version literally as of today and tomorrow. And it's had such great feedback. It's been fabulous fun getting it out to the world. But the hard work really starts now, believe it or not, in terms of getting it out to the world more and more, and actually solving this mission to eradicate the world of shit managers, to be honest, and building a coaching culture, which is obviously a positive. The book isn't a manager bashing book, and it's absolutely not that. The title is deliberately provocative, deliberately so, to jump off a shelf, to make people stop and think, well, actually on the title alone, I'm going to buy that book because I need to understand how we sort this out. And that's what it's all about. So I could talk about the book forever. I feel really proud of it. I never thought I was going to write a book. but nobody had ever said to me before, you need to write a book, or we need to write a book, which means you need to write a book. And when actually my business partner said that, you know, when he said, you need to write a book, or we need to write a book, he said, I just thought, well, do people write books? Do they have secret ghost writers? Who are these book writing people? And then I became one myself. And do you know what? It's been hard work, really hard work, but actually quite cathartic as well. I've got some interesting stories out from my archives of my career in my head. And the book isn't a boring business book. I mean, the title says it all. It isn't boring. It's actually quite funny in parts. But they're only the stories that are funny in hindsight. They're not funny at the time. Yeah. It's meant to be engaging. It's meant to be no nonsense. And it's absolutely meant to be practical, full of resources, supporting top tips. And it's really interesting. I even got some feedback just the other day. Somebody wrote to me who doesn't know me privately and said, I really love your book. And I thought, well, I'm not leaving it there. Which bit did you really love? What was it? Be specific. Tell me. Let me learn. And she said, I have been a head of people and culture for some time now. And I've done loads about coaching and I've done loads about leadership. This has been the first thing that has connected all the dots for me. You've connected the dots in your book. And I was like, whoa, thank you. So it gives me hope and inspiration that actually change might start happening, because there are other books that are being launched right now with titles that are calling out shit managers. And actually the conversations that are happening out there that are crushing people, that are affecting people's lives. And actually, this book isn't a manager bashing book. My book isn't that. It's a book of hope, inspiration. And actually, for every toe curling, grimacy story, there's a really positive case study to counterbalance that and to counteract that. So, yeah, it was fun to write, hard work, but something, that I never thought back in 2020 that's what I'd be doing. But here I am.
That's fantastic. I mean, I find myself when I'm trying to coach and develop people that the stories that make me cringe are the ones that sometimes give the best lessons. So if you can get some of them out there and help people get through those lessons without needing to do something cringy themselves, then that sounds like a good thing.
Oh, absolutely. And it's really interesting. Like I said, I'm recording the audio version at the minute. So I've literally been in a recording studio today with giant headphones on, you know, the giant microphone, giant headphones, and a sound engineer is reading it with me. So it's a bit like Jack and Ori, for anybody who remembers Jack and Ori back in the day reading. Thank you, Jo. And it literally is me reading the book out, and obviously he's recording it. And when we have the odd break, he went, my wife works in a really large organization and I think they could do with this book. And I said, why? Because her manager is not doing what you're advising. And actually, it's making her really unhappy. And I was like, it's that right there. That is it. And that is why I'm definitely on a mission to change the world of work for the better. And it doesn't have to be that difficult. It needs to just be done. Organizations need to start making this change and see it through. There's something in the book I call initiative-itis. To be fair, when I was saying that out loud today, trying to do the audiobook, I couldn't quite say it. It's easier to write than say. Initiative-itis. Oh, where's my teeth gone? And, you know, it can't be another initiative. Oh, we just need to get a few people with a few coaching skills. This is cultural change. This is behavioral change. This is sustainable change. And it's all doable. And the book shows that it can be done. And I say it's not easy, but it's possible. And not only is it possible, it's necessary. So honestly, I'm going to get myself a little no more shit managers soapbox and drag it round everywhere with me and then stand on it with a loud hailer and off I go. That'll be me. You'll see me on the corner of the streets in a market on a Saturday.
I love it. And I think you're doing that, Jo, already. I think you're doing that. This is what this is. It's fabulous. You know what? And I was reading your book and I loved the book. And there's a story about PSS, is it? On
page PSS,
211. Loved that story. because they won the coaching
Coaching Coach of the Year award.
Yeah, and it was driven from people at the top, really driven, and that's what you need. Like, I think the challenge is, Joe, and I've experienced it, and I got to be careful what I say. I've experienced it is you need to get buy-in from the top to make it work. And what I love about your book, Joe, can I just say, is the seven steps. It's the 7-step framework. I love it, and I know you referenced other books that separate. And what I love the ways you write about how you can use the book. You can jump in a stage. You might be. You can just jump in there, and I love that. And the bit that I really enjoyed about yours was assessing the coaching capability. I love that questionnaire. I am going to use that questionnaire. I'm nicking that. And
hang on, hang on. At the front of the book, it says, "Please don't nick anything before the okay, I'll let you nick it. That's fine."
Thank you. That's a nick it. I've just got everyone on the pot. I've got some. But honestly, Joe, it's wonderful, and I really love that questionnaire you put in it, because it clearly comes from your heart, but also very practical. It's like that's what I love about it. It's so practical. That's what I loved. And the other thing I loved about it is that you open my eyes to other things I hadn't realised about people that I really love already. You referenced Stephen Covey, you referenced the book, this one, Michael Bongar. And also, you talk about Gary Vaynerchuk.
I do. The ROI of
the thing about the ROI.
Social media. What's the ROI of your mother? Is his answer? Oh, cheeky.
Yeah, but I watched the ROI on coaching, because that's always what's asked, and what he said was absolutely gold. And I was trying to think, how can I relate to that? And I've actually got a story off the back of that I can actually. I'm not going to do it here because I want to. So that's inspired me to use a story which I will actually use when I ever have to justify the ROI on coaching. I am going to use this story, and I've got a personal story about it. So it's fantastic. I've just drawn so much, and I've only had it for a short while, but I'm inspired by it because it's given me more motivation to get this into what I'm doing. I love it. I absolutely love it.
Thank you. And for me, do you know what? Obviously, I want it to start impacting today's employees, all of us who are still in the workplace. I absolutely do. But it's also about laying the foundations for the children who are there at school right now, who are going to be in the workplace in the next 10 years. And then their children, people expect different things from their employers, their organizations. We have to move with the times. And, there's a level of, there's got to be some people who leave the organizations to make way for this fresh thinking, and people who, expect compassionate leadership, who expect coaching. And when I use the word coaching, I don't, one thing that really winds me up, and I don't get wound up very often, to be fair, I'm quite chilled, but there's one thing that does. So if you ever want to wind me up, use this one: calling coaching fluffy. And those people need to disappear out of the organization slowly but surely, or quickly, because it's so not fluffy. This is stuff that builds trust, builds relationships, and on the back of that builds high performance. And there's naught fluffy about high performance. But actually, the organizations who just focus on performance at the cost of everything tend to be at the cost of mental health, tend to be at the cost of burnout, tend to be at the cost of people walking out of the organization and going to other organizations because the manager was shit. It's not about that. It's about focusing on great communication. And that's what I say about coaching. I call it, don't be frightened of the C word. In fact, I nearly did call the book the C bomb, but I thought, oh no, there's too many connotations here on so many levels. So I decided we'll go with this one instead, which is equally provocative. But coaching for me is communication fundamentally. It's conversation, it's collaboration, it's compassion, it's so many things, creativity, it's fabulous conversations. It's not somebody sat in a room, not saying a word and just listening, or asking one question and then just listening. It's so much more than that. And it can make such a deep difference to people's jobs, roles, careers and lives. And I'm an example of how coaching, learning how to coach and being coached changed my life. And it's like, and that was the start of all of this for me. Hang on a minute, this stuff's good. This is really good. So how do we get it out to the masses? How do we make sure everybody is having the opportunity to be part of some great conversations? And I'm on that mission, and I've decided all I need to do now is design these headstones, my headstone one day. One of them's going to say, oh, didn't she do well? The other one's going to say, shit, she died trying. So there's two camps where this could go at the minute. I'm hoping the book is one that opens up, oh, didn't she do well? Because, you know, I'm so passionate about such an important topic, even if I'm 80 years old and it's still kind of, you know, change is happening, but we've got to start making that change now.
Yeah.
I've got a soapbox, haven't I? I've just realised.
Jo, you are doing it, and the fact you produced the book, you live and breathe it. You are the epitome of coaching. That's what
or the Lorraine Kelly of coaching is what I've also been called.
Is that right? Do you know what? Now you put that mind. You know, put that picture in my mind now. So I mean, you're preaching to converted here, because this.
I know.
This podcast exists because of coaching.
Yeah.
This is what it does. It's powerful, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and this is why, you know, everything you're saying just resonates, and this is why I love connecting with you, because coaching is like, for me, it's like silver bullet. It is like, can I just say that?
You can say that, and I totally say coaching is the silver bullet to organizational success. People always say, oh, there's no silver bullet. No, there is. No, I don't disagree. I don't agree. There is a silver bullet, and it's better conversations. And I've had some fabulous conversations since our last podcast all those years ago, where I had a wonderful conversation with an author of a book, Transformational Culture, David Liddell, love him to bits. And he has got 7 C's to transformational culture. And I interviewed him. I'm like, you are missing the one most important right in the middle. And he was like, which one? I was like, it's an 8th one, and it also begins with C, so we're on the right track. And he was like, what is it? I was like, coaching. He was like, oh. So him and I have been talking recently. He went, you have really woken my eyes up to coaching. He said, I think I'm late to the party. I was like, get in now, because you're talking about transformational culture with all these things, but actually the central word of all of that is coaching.
Do you know what? Your book wraps it up. Like, you know, everything you talk about in organisations, the coaching is the wrapping that wraps it all together. The culture and the drive of the organisation is wrapped in coaching. It's the wrapping. And it's funny you're saying that, because I've read your book. I've got to do a presentation tomorrow to the team I'm in, and I was saying, well, the skills of leadership, blah blah blah, and I've rattled off 4, and I went, guess what? Wrap this all up. Coaching wraps it all up. It's amazing. It really,
it does. And it's interesting, because I'd always been a manager who used a coaching style. Not always, not right at the beginning of my career, and I had some bumpy rides along the way until I got to that realization. And then I realized, just by asking some great questions and listening helped me to build relationships better and build trust, because I was listening and caring. And I got results, and it was like, I didn't know it was called coaching. I didn't know it had a name until I did. And then it's like, oh, I need to learn more about this, because this stuff is really good. And actually, you know, professionally accredited coaches go even deeper and deeper on behavioral change and, you know, the internal dialogue. But leaders and managers need to have a level of capability and confidence to give it a go, rather than just telling everybody the answers to everything, and thinking they're coaching when actually they're not. Oh, honestly, I love it. I definitely have got these 2 gravestones, and I do hope it's the better, more positive one.
I do like the lack of middle ground you have between your gravestones. It's either going to be awesome or shit, and there's nothing in between those 2 things.
Do you like that? I'm very binary. It's either that or that. So I haven't thought about the middle ground, because that would just be like a really averagely dull.
There you go. That's it. It's got to be amazing or terrible. It's going to be spectacular either way.
Epic either way. Epic fail or epic success. I'm not having Mrs. Vanilla in the middle. No way. And to be honest, I don't even think I'll have a gravestone, but that's another story.
That feels like a much deeper question for a different interview.
One thing I do know is I've decided I want to be part of the the wake. I said, I'm not having anybody celebrating and having fun. I want to be part of it. If I've got any inkling in this is happening, we have the party first. And my dad said the same as well, bless him.
That's a good
Go on.
plan. No, it's really good hearing how things move, because coaching was your mission, which it still is. But when Jo spoke to you before, and it just feels like that's now really laser focused on where you want to focus it on, that kind of manager level, and how to get it delivered and how to get it through. And it's great hearing that same passion now, three and a bit years on, and how that's moved on. So you it made me think actually when you talked about your recording studio thing earlier, because I saw your post on LinkedIn just before you went in when you talked about that. And last time you were talking with our Mr. Noya, the social media world and LinkedIn and posting was something in your kind of conscious, competent world where you knew you had to do it, but you weren't totally comfortable with it. So
Didn't say that.
It feels like that's just old hat to you now, and you're seeing the content you're putting out there. There's no worry for you as far as that goes.
Oh, it's the opposite. I love it now because I've made so many friends. LinkedIn is my friends now, my family, and that's where I get feedback. That's where people tell me what is good, what's bad, what's happening. I've made such valuable connections, friends for life. You hear the phrase, your vibe attracts your tribe. Oh my God, LinkedIn's done that for me so brilliantly. I absolutely love LinkedIn. If marketing was down to me, I would have been doing a leaflet drop around housing estates in my village. Genuinely, I would. And LinkedIn has just opened up, the art of the possible. Honestly, and since the book's launched, I've had messages from India, Canada, Australia, America, and I'm like, hello, hang on, we've got your book, we've got this. I love it, and I'm like, this is crackers. That wouldn't have happened with a leaflet drop around my estate.
Certainly only in a much more localised way. No, it's great. And we talk about it in our collective journeys on this. So we've been doing this for 5 years now, and there's things now that we do, or we've been exposed to, we've got involved in, or we'd never have thought of. So I just love that comparison, hearing you talk about things that are outside your comfort zone, and you've dove into them, and they're now in your comfort zone, and you're moving out into these brand new territories, looking at new things. And it's great seeing people's journeys like that.
Thank you. I tell you what I'm still putting myself out there a bit more on videos.
That's what I was going to ask next.
I don't. And why do I not love videos? Just because it's really interesting. I'll tell you, I've moved from I'm not doing them, I'm really not doing them to, oh, give it a go. And the thing that I changed in my head about videos was my internal dialogue, full stop. And it was like the dialogue I used to have about speaking in public. I remember being terrified. And then I changed that inner chat to from I'm terrified to I'm really excited. Now I say that to myself now. So I know if I've got to talk, I'm really excited. Honestly, I bounce on stage like Tigger now because I'm so excited, and I've told myself I'm excited. So I am excited. I've done the same with videos. No longer is it, I don't want to do it, I'm scared. What will I look like? What will people think? Blah, blah, blah. And now it's like, I'm really looking forward to this. I've got something to say. It doesn't matter as much what I look like. It doesn't, get your feedback, make it better, improve along the way. What's the worst that could happen?
Absolutely.
Coaching path, Jo, isn't it? The coaching path. That's what it is.
It is. It's that comfort zone thing. So I definitely am a firm believer that you cannot learn something or improve at something unless you do it. And speaking is that, videos that, writing a book is that. You just got to do it. Focus your time, because people have all said, oh, I would never be able to write a book. No, can you write? Yeah. Well, you could then. You absolutely could. And you just need to learn how. You just need to focus your time. We've all got the same amount of hours in the day. Focus your time. Honestly, so many things. And there's so much more for me to learn. I feel like I'm at the start again of a blank piece of paper, which is really exhilarating and exciting.
It absolutely sounds it. You can hear it in your voice. Look forward to doing this again in a few years when you tell us that writing's old hat and you're on to your next thing that
we have to
you're
bring
looking
it back.
to do.
This is going to you're not escaping, Joe. We're gonna have to keep bringing you back now on the different stages as they
You'll
go.
be able to just see me getting older along the way. Like, oh, look at Jo now. She's a little
Yeah.
old lady.
Fine
Lee and
wine,
I do that with
fine
actually
wine.
with our Joe as well. To be fair, we compare him from the
Joe,
start.
with fine wines, we get better with age.
Exactly.
Will it become
Absolutely.
vintage? You know,
So
very good.
my computer's telling me I'm going to have to wrap us up in a minute. So
Okay.
normally this is where I do our shilling, but Joe, this is all about you this week. So where can
Ooh.
people find you? Where's the best way to contact you? And of course, where is the book? Tell us all about that.
Oh. So where's the book? I'll answer that one first. So it's definitely on Amazon. That's the best place to get it. Amazon, it's great on there. Although I'm going to grow distribution of that, get it elsewhere. How you can find me? Oh, LinkedIn. I'm always there, lurking somewhere in the corners of LinkedIn. And I'm Jo Wright Coach or Jo Wright Speaker and Coach. I've got the website jowright.com where you can contact me through that, and also via coachingculture.com as well. So I'm here, there, and everywhere. But LinkedIn is definitely where I pop up annoyingly and frequently.
You're not annoying. You're amazing, and your videos are great, by the way.
Thank you.
Loving the video. I love in the videos. I love it because now you've got the highlighted words, and it's just great. Yeah, let's keep that going. I love it. I love the fact
Thank
you're doing
you.
videos now.
No, fantastic. Really excited for the book, see where that goes. We massively appreciate you coming in again. And I said it is great to hear the passion in what you're doing and how you're pushing the mission forward. So hope
Thank
that all
you. I've
continues
enjoyed
exactly how it's been going. Right, Jose and Ryan, is there anything you wanted to ask before I count us down and sign us off for the week?
No, I'm good. I'm good. I just want to say thanks, Joe. Really appreciate your time, and we'll stay engaged. We will support you. This podcast will support you. I will support you. So if there's anything we can do, apart from we'll put this podcast out there. Let us know, and we will do anything we can to help that mission.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. Everyone out there listening, watching, as always, we appreciate you. We'll be back next week. All that's left for me to do is count us down and say 3, 2, 1. Inspiration Nation.
Inspiration Nation.
Catch you guys later.
Later. Brilliant. Right, send this.
We're
Love
done.
it. Send that.